Hi guys and welcome to Wild. Today we are here with Tommy and Phil from Cellar, Moon, Crow. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Well, thank you
very much.
Amazing. It's nice to see you smiling, even though it's a bit of an uncertain time. It's nice to have you guys here and get to know you a little bit more. So you're based in and around Sheffield. What's the music scene like up there?
Well, it's at the moment obviously non-existent, out and about, but behind the scenes there's plenty of great stuff going off. I think a lot of bands are having to kind of find their own way how to channel what they're doing and make things effective the best that they can for their abilities of what they've got at this given time. But from scenes that we've been involved with throughout Sheffield, in particular like a honeybee scene, I know that a lot of their bands are still doing lots of different, online Zooms, online like gigs, different events like that, and that's all nice. Or they're just kind of planning for when things are running smooth again and we can just hit it hard.
Absolutely. So tell us more about your kind of music journey. How did you two become musicians?
We were kind of like born into it, bro. I'll let Philip go with this, Philip.
We've been musicians, in various bands together for lots of years, and it's kind of been a bit of a cycle for us, really. We went from being performing in different bands, different lineups and stuff. Tom on keys, me on guitar, sharing vocals and things. And in a roundabout way, we got into the recording side and started producing some different bands, and we gradually built up a recording studio. And that's where this project kind of came about, because we were guesting on different artists' tracks and things and producing material. And then as we were doing that, we were kind of making up his own beats and stuff and coming up with riffs and that, and just making, bits of kind of background music, really, library music and stuff. And then because we had access to all the equipment, that's when Tom kind of moved over to the drums. It was just there set up. So if we wanted to make a beat for a guitar or something, he'd jump on. And through that, it kind of evolved that we were actually making music, but behind the scenes in a studio. And after a period, a friend of ours, what was putting a stage on at a festival, actually said to us, "You've got to get this out there. You need to come and do a live show. You kind of shouldn't just be locked away, so to speak." So we did this first festival, Tramlines, back in 2015. And from that, we thought, yeah, it's too much fun. It's too much fun. Like, live is what we love. So that's where the idea of doing it as a two-piece band came, because we were making all the stuff, just the two of us. And we liked the idea of kind of dipping in and out, and the dynamic of that, really. The idea that if we just wanted something really stripped back, we can. And it's not like saying to, your bass player or whatever, don't want that big kind of force of nature and everything happening. Then we have the ability to do that as well. We won't make in the studio, and the way that the live show is very dynamic, that we chop and change what we're doing. So in a roundabout way, we came together with this just through like naturally evolving over the years with different lineups and different circumstances. So it's kind of led it into an interesting path, actually, with this, because we had a rented premise where we had the studio set up. And 2019, we were on tour with Airborne, an Australian band. Great tour, but as that tour was happening, we were winding the studio down, because we'd kind of started touring more frequently, getting tours through an agent and whatnot. And it meant that it didn't make sense to have the studio in that commercial capacity anymore, because we were doing more and more just for our band. So we started wrapping that down with the intention of making a purpose-built studio for ourselves, closer to home, permanent access, up for me and Tom around our band. And we literally started that build. I mean, literally like the building build from scratch. And that rode straight into all the lockdowns with COVID and whatnot in March. So it's kind of put us in this weird position where certain things are like knocking around and stuff. And a lot of the stuff is in storage until that build's complete, because you can kind of imagine when you go into a petrol station and you've got like the roof over the forecourt. That's a little bit what a studio looks like at the moment.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's been an interesting time for everyone, and it just feels like everyone had something very particular they're working towards. Obviously, we all got locked down, and here we are now, a year later, still trying to figure things out. But it's interesting to see how musicians are utilizing this kind of time on creating and maybe trying out different things as well, because there is the time and the mental space to have that at last. So how have you guys utilized this space?
We've been doing a lot of dancing.
No moves for the live show.
No moves.
And writing. We figured.
Yeah, but
that awkward period, isn't it, Tom? Awkward period where you've done your first album and you're trying to get your second album together. And I think historically speaking, for most bands, after one album, you're trying to write the next one while you're kind of on the road and stuff, and it can be hard to put it together. Whereas we've been forced to not be on the road. It's not ideal because we're not obviously together to do a lot of the writing, but fortunate in the sense, you know, technology these days, emails and Zoom and WhatsApp and whatever way you want to go about it, it's given us that window of time to kind of just pen over track. So if anything, I think we're trying to get like the best part of a couple of albums of material together so that when the time is right, we can just focus on live then. And it's not like trying to fill all the gaps with the writing. So it's, you know, there's ways to be productive in every situation. And that's the main thing, keeping active and keeping productive one way or another. And
I bet you both cannot wait to both play live shows, but also to attend live shows as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like a big missing part of your life, isn't it? So, but yeah, like Phil was saying, 2019 we just done tour with Airborne, come off of that, and then starting 2020 we're straight back out on tour with German band Picture Books. So like we were writing like thicker, enjoying that time because we'd already had the, you know, recording, writing, all that time. So it was kind of like the start of that, enjoy the live side of things, and then yeah, so like now we're just itching to get back on it.
To play, yeah, of course. You must tell us the concept behind the band's name, because we're kind of touched that a little bit pre-interview, but yes, tell us what's the meaning.
Okay, so we kind of formed the band around this time of year, so it's kind of like you were saying to me earlier, very cold, frosty, and you know, and at that time we were writing, recording in like a studio, like an underground kind of level, getting things pieced together. And the moon, as you know, like there's full moons all around the year. Well, the one that happens now, coming into March, is it's like a special moon where the full moon, it's for the crows come out when the ground starts to thaw, and the worms, which is dinner time, they can get to them, you see. So we liked that aspect, because what we felt were we'd recorded all these songs that's kind of like little goody treats, like little nice things, like little worms, and we were ready to unleash that and let people come and get it like the crows. So we kind of went on that aspect, that the full moon, the cellar door, which is opening up, like, I mean, the cellar's underground, just like the worms. You open that up and let people get on in.
Wow, that's quite the metaphor. I love it. It's
that's
very inspirational, and yeah, and it's absolutely awesome. I love that, and I'm sure loads of people will be really happy to understand the story behind it. You kind of mentioned a little bit about playing with Airborne and touring. What would you say has been your favorite venue that you have ever played?
love them all. They're all like friends, you know. We don't have a best friend as such. We have a collection. But when we get asked this question, it's very hard to not give it to the Beach Ballroom at Aberdeen, because when we got there, it was amazing, weren't it, Tom? It was like, it was just like a big Gatsby building, really. 1930s on the seafront, and it's just like open checkbook, I imagine, when they made that building, because the luxury inside there, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So
when we got there, they were like started reeling off all legends, weren't they? That's played, like they said, like Pink Floyd, The Who. Started going through like different bands. That's
Beatles.
Like, oh yeah, them five.
And yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it's like it's carpeted, and I always wonder when they have these nice ballrooms with carpet, what they're doing booking, like, you know, rock and roll bands like Airborne, because it's just carnage.
I must say I've never been to the venue, so I'm familiar, but the concept of carpet does seem quite interesting.
They have a powder room. I don't know if that still happens. Do the ladies still powder? But if they do,
I'm unsure. I'm unsure what other ladies do. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of a powder room, but I don't think it happens much these days, for sure.
They've got various sections, balconies and alcoves and little secret passages that took you from one part to another. It's like a big mysterious venue. Like, you know, you go in one entrance and then you come out of the building and you don't know where you are, because it's just all these different doors and mirrors. It's good. I'd love to go back.
That London venue that we played, like, that was quite a few years back, wasn't it? That 100 Club. That's got massive history, and we were down to play that, weren't we? Last international.
Yeah. We did a gig. We were in the middle of a tour in March, and we just finished up at Bodega in Nottingham. That's again great venue, lots of stairs, but it's a good venue.
I remember that about it mainly.
They all have stairs. They all have stairs. They either go up or they go down, or in theory you do both as you do the gig. But the 100 Club, you start by going down.
That's how they work.
Just which way you start. So the Bodega, you get there, you start by going up. So the 100 Club, you start by going down. And you walk down at the 100 Club in London, like in time. So you're going on Oxford Street, which is quite current, or was. And when you get down there, it's like, 1960s or whatever. We were down to play there again, actually, and that would have been great. I'm sure it will happen in time. We were going to play with an American band called The Last International, and they're cool. So check them out.
Yeah,
definitely, and fingers crossed that you can get back out there and start playing live shows again. Speaking of bands and shout outs,
big shout out.
What are, if you could name one band or musician each that you are really listening to right now?
21 Pilots, great band, like them. Funny thing is, I've probably stole Tom's there because he found them first. We were quite late to that party, to be honest. This is often the case for us, you know. I remember getting into Jack White or Black Keys, and they were already about 4 albums in. But 21 Pilots, Tom sends me this track of theirs, and I'm like, yeah, we really like this. They kind of reminded us a little bit of elements that we were after from a studio side and that, and being a 2-piece. And yet we'd gone so far down the line, like put an album out and everything, before we'd even heard of them. As soon as we heard it, we sent the link to our agent saying, check this band out. These would be really good to tour with, but I don't know if they're English or not, because they don't sound like they've got really broad English accent or anything.
I thought they were American. I might be completely off.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really big as well. So I went back on the link and thought, where's that song? I'll find it on YouTube. It got like all these zeros after views. Bet agent thinks I'm a Rhine knob.
Yeah, but they are really great. What about you, Tom? What is the one musician / band that you're listening to right now?
So I'm just having a look, seeing if I can see out. So for me, like, like Phil says, I do like them at the moment. That's I'd pass them on to our Phil. We've always been quite heavy with Jack White and his kind of his big empire and Raconteurs and different side projects that he's had. So I always go back to Jack's stuff when I'm listening. Tyson Fury, he's
great artist.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to do a big shout out, we always like to have a big shout out for his camp.
Yeah. There's that new The Wolf album that's just come out as well, Wolfpack.
Yeah. Well, I was going to use them because I knew that you'd just pinch mine, so I thought I'd
Bill mine back.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out what that band is that you like, and I've just found them. Is it
how do you, being brothers and being in a band, do you think that dynamic is a positive, or can it have negative things because you guys are quite close and working together?
Positive for us.
Positive.
Yeah, we only get positivity out of it, to be honest. I know, like, some bands, it might not work, or there might be a lot of animosity. I don't know what word is, but they just don't gel the same. But like for us, we've always found it like big positive. Like,
I don't understand it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's thought process and it's writing and stuff like that. We seem quite like we're very zoned in. Like whatever Phil brings or I bring to the table, the other one pretty much guaranteed will like it and work on it. And then as for like spending time together, the touring side, it's just like adventure time, isn't it? Like children.
That's nice. Really great to hear.
It is two sides, though. It is two sides. Well, I mean, a lot of people, they just think, that me and Tom are very similar and the same, but we're not. We are literally like two different arts in a way, like the opposites attract kind of thing. Like he brings things to the table that I never would, and vice versa. But then we embrace them ideas and put them together. Like either one of us couldn't write the stuff or do the stuff we do independently.
It's like that.
It needs that
glue.
Collaboration.
What's that super glue called that you use in
woodwork?
And it's like two
part, we'll call it.
Yeah, you put them together and it makes super bond.
Mix it.
But that's really great to hear, and it's really great to see that you
chemical reaction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's really great to see that that kind of positivity, and that two family members, two brothers can also create great music and work so well together. Yeah, that's really wonderful to hear. And what are you working on at the moment? What have you got coming out next?
Well,
like an album we want to do.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah, like when we went into lockdown, we started like thinking, shall we just bang out a second album and go like a different kind of approach with a lot more like electronically done. But then we just started like banging out ideas, and as you're doing it, you think, well, maybe that might not work as much like that. So we just started thinking, let's shelve them, put them all there, and start working way through. So we're at that writing for that next thing that's coming out, but we don't want to polish anything. We just want to make molds of things, and then when the time's right, we'll get the buffer out and start polishing things up.
And is there any gigs that you have coming up that you think may take place, hopefully?
Download.
We're down for Download Festival.
Yeah, that is definitely
the next one. Yeah, we got a few festivals booked for this summer. Download Festival, down for Rambling Man as well, which is another really good one in Kent. And we're supposed to be doing one in Guernsey as well. Whether they happen, I'll be honest. In the long run, for me, I just think we were down for all them festivals last year, and it rolled over to this year. And if they don't happen, they just roll over to next year, because I'd rather it be right and the right atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? I think when the time is there to play a festival, then people will. And if it's controlled, you should still do it, because it's going to raise, vibes, and it's going to get some momentum. And the industry itself needs to start from an economic side. It needs to start being active again. So if that means doing stuff with distancing and limited capacity and all that, then that needs to happen. And we'll support that. But then at the same time, there are also elements that if it's not safe and it's not right to do it, and it's not going to be done to a level that makes that event what it kind of should be, I would also rather hold it off as well. You know, I mean, you kind of wait all your life for an opportunity like download.
Yeah, it's better
it's
to be
23 people in an
yeah.
acre field. You missed it.
Yeah, like you said, that I think obviously the logistics of it are a little harder. You know, it's easier said than done, but it can be done, and hopefully it will be done. But like you said, at the same time, it's better that if it has to be postponed, but it's safe, and then next year it can be just incredible, rather than just forcing it because we're also itching for it to happen. Yeah, as you said, we're going to see a bigger picture, and when it happens, it's going to be great. Whether that is this year or next year or whenever that will be. Just a quick,
definitely.
Yeah, just a quick last one. Tell me the one thing that you're most looking forward to post-pandemic, that once pandemic is over you can do.
Social engagement, whatever that is. I just want to be around family and friends and have a proper beer. I'll be honest, like we stopped drinking a few months ago. Like, it gets boring Sunset tea with television, drinking on your own. It's like you just think, why am I doing this? If I'm gonna have a drink, it's from a social side, and you realise that is what you want. You know, we tried it, didn't we, Tom? We did a gig online. You know, we watched a friend of ours was doing a gig, and we did it where you log in, you buy tickets, kind of behind a closed environment, and then me and Tom can obviously see each other as well, just because we'd gone in as the same tickets or whatever. We're having a beer, watching it online, and it was good, and we enjoyed it on the night because it had broke up that, you know, monotonous momentum what we're in. But at the same time, you can't beat the real thing. And I think when people talk about, you know, is it going to be scary? Is this forever? And what will happen? The reality is, I think when it is good to go and given the okay, I think people, you know, and it's deemed safe, everyone will come back out. It'll be like a boom, like after the Second World War or whatever. And, you know, people will be like, let's just go out and party for a long time now. That's what we'll do anyway.
It'd be the roaring 20s again for sure. What about you, Tom? What's the one thing you're most looking forward to post-pandemic?
Well, I obviously agree with everything Phil's just said. Meeting up with family, all good times. But I do think it's going to be very exciting. That first check-in at a hotel with us speedos, and just unloading the party basket into the hotel room. That's going to be like tingly.
that special moment that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, like I said earlier, me and I feel it is like a bit adventurous. Like we're like young kids, and like when your parents like take you out somewhere when you're young and you're like, you know, little shits doing stuff like you go to like a garden centre and you go out and go your separate ways, and it's all like fun and exciting. Well, we're like that every like venue. When we get to a venue, it's like I just want to find different rooms and different things, and like, oh, come and check this out. Oh, I found this. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's very good. And like, just really miss that. And I think first time like we get unleashed like that, it's going to just feel like your birthday. You know what I mean?
We always stay in the city or town that we're playing, because we try to be very cultured and go and visit parts of the city, you know, tourist attractions and museums and buildings, and it's like a big adventure, and we find that really exciting.
Yeah,
we know they get a bit.
It's amazing. It's great to be a tourist in your own city and to explore what's around you, and I think that's definitely something to look forward to when those places open again. And for those who haven't maybe been doing that, it may be a good opportunity to be like, actually, I'm going to see what's around, because, you know, because we're probably all limited to the things we can do for a while anyway. So it's great to explore what's, as you said, have an adventure close to home.
Yeah, 100%.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's been really lovely to meet you. Please do check out all of Cellar, Moon, Crow links. They're all linked down below, so check out their socials, check out their music. If you're not familiar with them yet, I'm sure that you are, but if you're not, check them out. And yeah, hopefully next time we'll see you guys, we'll be in real life.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be lovely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.